Well, Brian White, it is Juniper week. I mean, last week we talked about Juniper, but they can't get enough. I mean, the folks just can't get enough about
Yes,
Juniper. I've seen. I think it was CERN last week that put up a picture of a Juniper tree when he was
that was
doing.
me.
Yeah, yeah,
That was me.
that was you that
Well,
did that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, the AI tree because Grok didn't know what it was yet.
I see. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, let's talk Juniper. I'd like to know, in your opinion, let's see here. What do I want to know? There is rumors that it will go live next week on the website and they'll start taking orders in the United States. And you think,
First of all, Randy, it's great to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome to the viewers at home. Welcome to the Randy Kirk Hour of Madness. It's so mad it's not even an hour long. Juniper's exciting, and so I'm not surprised that we would still be talking about it because, like you said, a lot has come out since then. We know that there's shipping in China. There's shipping,
shipping?
but oh yeah, we've seen trucks of them going out,
Oh, so they're, yeah, yeah, not delivering, shipping.
not
Okay,
to not into customer
right,
hands yet.
right, right.
Hopefully, we'll see that showing up shortly. But it's a long quarter. As long as you're making them and moving them out, that counts. They will be counted by the end of the quarter. But this has created a lot of FOMO in other markets. We saw Berlin was taken offline a few days ago to begin production of the Juniper.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's in not just two markets, it's in two factories serving all almost all of Europe,
Yeah.
and a lot of the Asia Pacific and Oceania. So that's huge, which means there's just one place left to go. Yesterday, 𝐤𝐸𝐽𝐸𝐷 noticed a stoppage of Y production.
Ah,
You can tell from the sky there's none coming out. There's
ah,
there's almost none left on the lot.
ah.
That tells us that it is imminent. I would not be surprised one bit if it is underway. And when did you say that you'd heard that orders might open?
There was several sources, again, all rumors. None of them claimed to know anything definitive that they would be putting it up on the website this week. This week? It was because it was last week that they said it. I don't know. This week, next week. Anyway, really, first of all, they were saying February, but then they moved it back. So I don't know whether they were talking this actual week that we're in or next week.
February's in 11 days.
I know.
So uh, I believe that that is perfectly reasonable, unlike Randy Kirk. Very unreasonable.
Yeah, whatever you say, Brian.
Hey, man. Hey, people come to me for the facts. The facts are Randy Kirk, very unreasonable man.
So, all right. So speaking of reason, since I don't have any reason, I try to go to the crowd for reason. So I went to the
Mm,
crowd and I asked them, how do they feel about the Model Y looks?
yeah.
And because, there was all this conversation. Well, my polling, and it's only an hour in, but there was a decent number of people giving an answer. 60% said it was great, and
Mm.
another 28% said it was good enough.
Okay. So normally on X polls, I say be very careful because you are talking to the bubble, your bubble, whatever bubble your followers and you are in.
Right,
But your bubble is Tesla people.
right.
That to me is now it might not be quite as representative as you might like. I would still say it's not, a perfect poll,
No,
but I'd say it's pretty close. It is definitely robust in its both sample size and, you know, if people despise Tesla, who cares what they think? If you're not going to buy it anyway,
right.
your vote doesn't matter on this poll. What I've seen on social media, uh, and I follow Reddit, I follow many different social media because that's where I get news and information. And what I've found is the people who generally don't like Tesla don't have an opinion about its looks. They're
Hmm,
just not even talking about it.
hmm.
When the people who hate you have nothing to say, you're on the right track. I have seen people say, well, it looks too much like a Chinese car.
Hmm.
Okay, but we don't have Chinese cars in the US, so that means it looks different. Okay. So I mean, is that a problem?
Right.
And in terms of Europe, I mean, The people I've seen on social media, I would say are more like 80 to 90% in favor. So I
Mhm.
guess that matches about with yours as good enough or great.
Right? Mhm.
And some people really don't like it. That's fine. Those are fine numbers because that last 10% might just get used to it,
Yeah.
or hurry up, buy an inventory car so you can avoid it. But the reality is, once you're inside the car, what it looks like matters a whole lot less.
Mhm.
And there's only so much you can do with the form factor. It is a crossover SUV, famously one of the more difficult form factors to make attractive and appealing. But I think they've done a fine job. I think it's an interesting refinement over the old one. Uh, if, I like them both, but in different ways. But the reality is, if it was outright ugly, I wouldn't care because it's such a step forward, assuming we get all the upgrades that we saw with the Model 3 Highland.
Right.
Well, it's only got an extra 14 miles of range. Right. Stated range. What we saw with the Highland is the real range was substantial. It was like 20% more range.
Mhm.
I don't know if we'll get quite 20%, but we might. We'll certainly get a number that's more accurate to the EPA rating. And people are still angry. The EPA rating is rigged, it's fake, it's whatever. Look, of all the different rating systems, the CLTC, the WLTP, all the different ratings around the world, EPA is the closest to real world. Don't get mad at the manufacturer. They didn't make the test. They just gamed it.
Yeah, game kit. Yeah. Of course we have sales rumors coming out of Shanghai, and the first rumor was that they sold 50,000 the first 24 hours, and then the newest rumor that I'm seeing, and it's coming from I don't know the sources. I there was two sources today, both of them saying 100,000 in 10 days. Now that would be a pretty darn good number. Do you have any more definitive? Is it any more than a rumor, or how do you see it?
Uh, I would be surprised. So 50,000, what we don't know is if that's for the China market or for all the markets that
Mhm.
China feeds. It is my guess that it's all the market China feeds. So I would say it is just a rumor, but it's a credible rumor. It makes sense to me. It doesn't surprise me at all. That's the biggest thing. When you hear something and it doesn't make sense, that's when you really need to pause and dig deeper. But there's pent up demand for this refresh. So the important thing isn't how many orders they have. It's great that they have way more than they need. The beauty here, Randy, is that when you've got this many orders, it means you can optimize your shipping. You're not trying to send two cars to the middle of nowhere out of a whole truckload. You can send the whole truck. You're saving money. So that means that the time to get back to margin positive on this will be very, very quick if there's any lapse at all. So I think we're going to see a quarter in Q1, I think will be better than I expected it to have been. I expected Q1 to have quite a dip, and now I don't. I think once the factory is up to full speed, which it may already be, they will keep it at full speed for the rest of the year. And if that demand surge happens in the US as well, which I do expect, that means we can add shifts in Texas. In Europe, if the demand is strong enough, they can add shifts in Berlin. That's that's great. But at the very least, they can run as fast as they can and not worry about having demand for the product and not worry about more complicated logistics. A while back, I saw an entire truckload of Lucid Airs. I was excited. I thought, "Oh my gosh, you're finally enjoying economies of scale." Um, we'll find out soon enough if that's going to help them. I will have you on for a show, maybe today, maybe the same day this is out, but soon, maybe tomorrow, to talk about Lucid's prospects.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got some fool articles to go over. And I mean fool, but yeah.
So on other subjects right now, we've
Mm,
seen pictures of CyberCab with a steering wheel, and
yeah.
everybody's going nutso. So what do you think? I said this morning in my earlier show, it means nothing to me. It could be 1,000 different reasons. I have no idea. But anyway, maybe you're a lot smarter than me. So
Maybe I have a source at the factory. I don't. And if I did, I wouldn't admit it. Um, what a steering wheel would mean, and I'll have a show out about this probably tomorrow, is one of two things. It means either, well, it could be a mistake. It could be an appearance. Maybe the picture's wrong. It doesn't look wrong. If you've got a decent monitor and you really zoom in, it looks like a steering wheel to me. It is likely for moving the vehicle around. We know from talking to the engineers that it's not going to have a wheel, that there are too many changes that would be required to have a wheel. However, we could throw a game controller in there just to make moving it around easier. If that's what they're doing, my concern is that version 13 is not as far along as we had thought. You shouldn't need one. You should be able to move it absolutely anywhere without having to have manual controls. So my guess is that if that is a wheel, and if it is operational, that it is essentially a game controller. It is a Wii steering wheel that is somehow tied into the steering controls.
I had completely forgotten about that game until you said that.
Mario Kart. That's what it is.
All right. Well, then there's this other subject called the semi. And
never heard of it.
You've run a couple of videos recently about the semi, and some of my people probably actually watch your show too, but some don't. I don't know what's possibly wrong with them. So we did see semis pulling some different branded trucks. What do you call it? Cans. We used to call them cans. What do you know about semi that I don't know? Probably a lot.
Okay. So first of all, we have seen them pulling a tandem load, two trailers. Yeah. That's something we hadn't seen before about a week ago. We've seen for a while now them pulling SAIA trailers, SAIA. That is a very large shipper. It appears they're doing some testing. And then we saw one just yesterday, I think, and I don't remember the name on the side of the truck, but it was a whole new brand. But on that one, I'm not convinced that the company has taken possession of the truck to do testing. I think it might just be a Tesla internal truck that picked up a trailer that had that name on it. I don't know that they're looking to expand their test market, but as recently as a few weeks ago, we saw more data out from fleet operators who were testing the efficiency of the truck. And what they found is that in California, where the truck speed limit is 55, which is a little unfair, that despite having 14,000 feet of elevation change in their run, they were getting well over 500 miles of range. And that they found when the semi was unveiled, they said it's going to be 2 kilowatt hours per mile. And what they found is it's more like 1.6, 1.7. So it's a good 15, 20% more efficient than what was shown at the unveiling. So this is fantastic news. Now, how is it going to fare when it's out on routes where the truck speed limit is 70, 75? Worse. It is going to fare worse. Wind is your enemy. The wind resistance is going to eat you. But we don't know to what extent yet. It appears the testing has not been conducted in those conditions by any of these testers. And I will point out that while Frito-Lay sells a very lightweight product, they've also been doing Pepsi deliveries, and liquid is very heavy. So these trucks have been put through their paces.
And how about any updates on the factory itself? Is there, yeah.
It is almost entirely closed off. Most of the concrete work inside has been done. All the floors have been, not all, most of the floors have been poured at this point. The stamping pit is coming along nicely. There's, it's probably another month from done, at which point they'll slap the building up around it while it's curing. It is going well. It is moving quickly. I haven't seen them moving much equipment in yet, but I have seen them moving in things like electrical boxes and some of the bigger utility items they need to get going, which right there tells you a lot of floors are done. So it is, yeah, it's moving along fantastic.
Good, 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 good. All right. So we're still kind of on your timetable, which might mean sometime in the second quarter, they start making a few units.
I'd say the end of Q2 is very possible.
Wow. That's very, very cool. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you in advance, so maybe you
Uh-oh.
absolutely no news, but I have to ask if you have anything to say about Optimus that would be intriguing. Yeah.
No, I don't at this time. I haven't seen any news this week for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, we'd like to see some more Optimus. We'd like to see.
No, no,
No,
I'm
no, you
fine
want to
with it.
keep it under.
Keep it, play your cards close because every time you show what it does, the other guys step up their game. We're all going to have the bots. It's going to happen. It's coming like a tidal wave from 100 manufacturers.
Right.
There are manufacturers that are already selling bots.
Right.
The hardware is really good. Problem is the software is what makes it actually function.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if I could sell you a supercomputer with no operating system.
Right.
What good is that to the average consumer, to the average business even?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So no news on Optimus. All right. So I'll just open it up wide open. Is there anything else that I should have asked you?
Oh,
No?
no,
Okay.
no.
All right. Well, then on the next show, I'm going to let you ask me. How's that? So on
I'm
Tuesday,
excited.
are you excited? You get to ask me whatever you want. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I am. It's exciting. We'll tease it a little more because what it
Okay.
actually is if I could give Elon 10 questions that he has to answer, what
Right.
would the answers be?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I go technical, so I've got some good questions, and I don't know if any of these are going to actually wind up being asked on the say technologies investor questions.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, but it might throw out some ideas. People, everybody watches your show or my show or both. I mean,
Probably,
everybody.
probably
Yeah, pretty much.
everybody I know.
All right, Brian, as usual, thanks for coming on and trying to cheer us up because we all need cheering up
Mm,
on any given day.
mhm.
It's all right. And to all of you out there, I cheers to you. Many of you are very excited today. It's been great talking to you.